All right, welcome back, Bears fans, and bear down as always. We're going to do a quick top 30 update and then a couple mock options. Just when I think I'm all done with my mock drafts, I can't do any more, I think of other ideas of what we could do. So I'm going to run through some of those quickly. They'll be kind of like the Monday morning quickie I did. I just want to lay a couple out there because there's so many ways this draft can go, and we're 8 sleeps away. We're almost there. 1 week and 1 day away, and we're at the draft. It's coming. I know it's taken forever. It's coming. So on the top 30, we're almost done. Today's the final day they can have guys in there. Now, the thing is, we might not know which ones have come in that we didn't see or weren't reported or that the media didn't get leaked or didn't get notified somehow. I highlighted the one on the right there that is new. That's Dadrian Taylor Demerson. He is the safety out of Texas Tech. And of course, let's pull it up here real quick for you. The thing I like about him, he is a ball hawk. He's a free safety, 4 interceptions, and a 65 NFL passer rating against him last year. So very, very solid. He's a little bit small, 5'10", 197 pounds. But for a defensive back, that's not bad. His 40 time was solid, 4.41, high vertical, 38-inch. His shuttle and his 3-cone weren't the best. You wonder if he just had a bad testing day. But he was the Big 12 Defensive Back Player of the Year. A lot of good going for him. He is a projected 3rd rounder right now. So the Bears have a couple of those cornerbacks right there at the 3rd round, and we do need a backup nickel back. That's not really the free safety spot. I don't know. Who knows what Ryan Poles is cooking up? He's always cooking up something. We don't know what's cooking up. You see, I moved some of these into my 2nd round table. Some like Ben Sinnott and Kieran Emijabi, because they are really late 2nd rounders, and we don't have a 2nd round pick. So what's he cooking up? Who knows? Might need a couple of trade ups, trade downs. Who knows what's going on? But we are 26 now total. That 29 isn't right. It's 30 now with Adrian Taylor Demerson. 26 not counting the local visits with Kieran, Cam Hart, Ryan Flournoy, and Bryce Gallagher. So there's spots for a couple more. Maybe we just didn't do that many. I mean, we've really nailed the spots where we need to. The wide receivers, defensive ends, defensive tackles, Brock Bowers, tight ends, centers, offensive tackles. So we've really hit all those spots. So maybe we're just not complacent. Maybe we're just good. Maybe we've really got options. We've only got the 4 picks. So maybe we're good there. Here's the depth chart, or our needs chart. I took names off because the names weren't necessarily important. Quarterback, we don't have one. Wide receiver, we don't have one. Offensive tackle, we need the swing tackle. Defensive end, we need either a 2nd or a 3rd, depending on how comfortable we are with DeMarcus Walker. Either way, we need depth because either Walker or Tez go down, we're screwed. And so we definitely need a defensive end. So those in order of left to right are our needs. Then we need a defensive interior rotational guy. We could even add a 2nd defensive end here. We could another one to this list of needs. So for 3 or 4, tight end 3, we could even add tight end 4. Who knows what Shane Waldron's going to do? And if we end up getting a Jatavian Sanders or a Brock Bowers even, those are just as good as wide receiver or slot wide receiver. And maybe we could run with 4 tight ends and 5 wide receivers, or maybe 4 tight ends and 4 running backs and 6 wide receivers. So see what happens. Backup center or starting center of the future. Need that. And Ja'Tyre Carter needs to get off this team. So there's our needs. There are the needs we have. Let's look at some quickie mock drafts. All right, number 1, this is the one I showed you guys yesterday on Monday, the Monday morning quickie. In that same fashion, let's go over a couple of these. So this one is the 5 picks in the first 2 days. So right now we have 3 in the first 2 days and 4 total. This would make the Bears, we're trading down from 9 in all these scenarios. Well, almost all of them. Actually, we'll do one straight up. But we're trading down from 9. If you look on the right, 9 for 13 and 44. And then we trade again 13 with 122 for 26.57, a 1st next year and a 5th next year from Tampa Bay. And I really like this because this builds for the future. Ryan Poles talked about next year's draft being so important, but we still got super value this year. And with that, we took Caleb Williams, Chop Robinson, Zach Frazier, Ben Sinnott, Kieran Amijabi, and we got a 1st and a 5th next year. I really like this mock draft. If this is what happens, I'm stoked. There's so many options when we play with the draft capital of number 9. This is why I like the draft haul. We're not going to spend too much time on any of these, Maybe if in the comments we'll do a poll about which one you guys like the most. But there's just some different thoughts here. So this is stocking up draft capital for next year and moving up because, as we showed in the Free Talk Tuesday, Ryan Poles really capitalizes on those first, second, and third round picks. This gives us 4 picks within the first 2 rounds, 5 total in the first 2 days. This becomes one of my new favorites. All right, next one, same concept, but Poles is extracting a little bit more value. So you see we go from 9 to 13 and 44, just the same. But then for 13 and 122, we're going to do 26, 57, and instead of a first and a fifth next year, a sixth or seventh this year, 220. And then we're going to trade down from 75 and get 76 and 143. So it's just extracting more value, just what the Bears could do. And just took a few different picks. So Caleb Williams, Jackson Powers Johnson, center in the first round this year, then wide receiver next, and then edge, because we do have 2 starting edges. So there's different options of how we can play this off. Chris Braswell, to me, is a solid prospect for the second round. So I'm not upset about that at all. Then we still get Kieran Amajabi, and then we get Zach Zinter and A.J. Barner when we're extracting a little extra value out of this. All right, move on to the next one. We're going to go more darts at the dartboard. So this one, we're not going to trade down a lot, but we're going to do Ryan Poles style like in 2022, where he traded back a bunch of times and got a bunch of late round picks. Now, I understand this might not be the draft to do that, but in this concept, Ryan Poles is saying, okay, I'm going to take my top 3 picks. So instead of 109 and 75, we're going to go 112 and 75, and then we're going to extract 122 and get a bunch of value out of it. And we're still going to get next year's first for Denver. I know that's a little high trade up, but they offered it, and I took it, guys. So don't go to the bank with that one. Maybe Denver gives us a next year's second instead. But this is what the simulator gave me, and I was like, I ain't passing that up. I'm doing it. Let's go. So with this one, you see top right, we trade 9 for 12 and Denver's next year first. And then at 9, we take Jared Verse. Okay. Then at 75, we're just taking Kieran Amajabi. All right, now here's where the fun begins. Look bottom left first. These are a little out of order. 122 we trade to the Niners for 124 and 215. So just extracting a little value and going down a little bit. Then the Jets come calling with the next one up. In the middle of the screen there, 124 we trade for 134 and 185. Then we trade 134 and our 6th rounder next year for 161 and 171. Yes, that's a lot. But that's Ryan Poles style from 2 years ago. And yeah, we might be past those days, but we do have some depth issues this year. So taking some flyers, trying to get a couple hits there, I'm all in favor of it, especially if it ends up like this. Caleb Williams, Jared Verse, Kieran Amajabi, love it. Then if our flyers turn into these players, which I don't know if all of them will last this long, there are a lot of prospects though, and there's a lot of darts to throw at the dartboard. Tosh Washington, who has repertoire with Caleb Williams, who actually played very well, and to me is going later in these mocks than he probably should. Then Jalen Wright, to me, who's one of the best running backs in this class. No way he lasts at 171, but that's what these mock drafts are. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Then Muhammad Kamara, who has a ton of upside, and A.J. Barter at tight end. And we still get Denver's first next year. Yes, some of these are kind of crazy, guys, but there's so many things that could happen. And that's what this video is about. It's the coulds. What could happen? All right, and now we get to the 2 big trade downs for the future. We're extracting 2 future firsts in this one. Okay, so it's very similar to the first concept. If you look there at the top right, Denver gives us 12 and a first for next year. We're giving back next year's second, so it's not straight up robbery. This is actually pretty fair on the trade value. It's a first for second swap. We're moving down 3 spots, and we're getting a first next year, giving up our second. Pretty fair. Then from 12, we're going to trade down to 26. We're going all the way down to 26. We're getting 57, next year's first and next year's second from Tampa Bay. These are actually very fair trades. These aren't robbery. These are fair. But what it does is it gives us 1 extra pick this year. We're still staying in the first. We got an extra second. And we get 2 firsts and recoup a second from next year by trading away our second. So we're really getting 3 first rounders next year. Our own and 2 other ones, Denver and Tampa Bay. I'm in favor of this. If this is what Ryan Poles wants to do, and he says this draft is deep enough that I'm comfortable with this many players in the first round. Now, I don't think this will happen. I'm going to preface that. I don't think this is the route he will go, but the two big trade downs for the future, because he talked about next year's draft being a great draft. I'm in favor. I really am. I could handle this. Caleb Williams, Byron Murphy, Ben Sinnott, Kieran Amajabi, Taj Washington. I'm in favor of it. I can handle this. All right, so just a little bit of fun today. Updating the top 30. I haven't heard any other ones. If you guys have, let me know in the comments, because I don't know any other top 30s that have happened other than our new boy here, Dadrian Taylor Demerson, free safety out of Texas Tech, 8.1 RAS score. So he's the only one I've heard that's come on the board in the last couple days. That's really kind of where we sit. It looks like we might be done. Today's the last day for top 30 visits, at least coming into Hallett's Hall, our facility, and interviewing them, working them out, doing all the drills, doing all the stuff with them in Hallett's Hall. They can still go out and scout players and meet with them, whatnot, but not in Hallett's Hall. So that's it for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Let me know which one of those drafts you like the most. We got a lot happening here in the next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Remember, I am going live on Thursday next week for the draft. So until next time, bear down.